My Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution 8 is finally back on the road, so we're gonna get down to some work on it. If you've been following along on our channel, you know that this is my somewhat forgotten Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 8 that is now finally insured and up in Canada, so I'm starting to drive it. And it's already has a ton of mods done to it. So it's got a 2.2 liter stroker built by CBRD, exhaust, intake, wheels, suspension, all that jazz. So I'm not gonna be doing that. But what I have are a couple mods that need to be done on it, starting with this gauge cluster. And you might be wondering, oh, hey, what's going on? Why are you replacing a gauge cluster? Well, first of all, it's got actual kilometers on it, which is nice, so I don't have to kind of read in between the lines on the US cluster for the kilometers. And more importantly though, I've gone and installed a boost gauge. So this is a stealth boost gauge install. It's built right into the cluster. And this story is actually on our website, which I will link below. So if you're looking for the full how-to on how to do this, it's on our website. But I'll give you a quick rundown. What I did is I took all these plastic pieces off, ended up, this is a 45 millimeter Amori boost gauge that you can buy online. Really simple electronic boost gauge, the smallest one of its kind, I think. And then I hogged the back side out and ended up mounting it in there. And just like that, we've got ourselves a boost gauge in the factory cluster. So this should look really good. I didn't really want a boost gauge sitting outside of the car to keep it more stealth. So let's get this bad boy installed. First order of business here is to tee into a vacuum and boost source. And over here is the fuel pressure regulator, which I'm going to tee into. The boost gauge that I bought had this fancy tee that they provided. There you go. And now I'll be able to tee off of that into the boost pressure sensor. I'm gonna mount this on the firewall, but what I had to do was drill it out so I could pass a bolt through it that would mount to the firewall. So now we've got that little nifty setup. So I'm gonna use this bolt here as my mounting spot for the boost pressure sensor. Remove it. Here's the sensor. And let's get this guy back up into here. Unfortunately, I don't know if I'm even gonna get a socket on that, but I should be able to tighten it without too much headache. Yeah, I should have thought this through. The mounting bracket's a little bit tight. Can't even get a goddamn wrench on it. But at this point I'm committed. So I'm just gonna tighten this down the hard way and we'll be good. And there we are. The old boost pressure sensor is mounted up. So now I'm just gonna splice the tubing from the boost pressure sensor into the T here. There we go. I'm gonna put a zip tie on that and we're done. In order to pass the boost sensor wire through the firewall, I've decided I'm gonna drill a hole right in this area, make it nice, clean, and easy. There's a ton of space on the backside behind the dash. I've already checked, so that seems like the best spot to do it. Now let's see if the hole that I just drilled passes my wiring here. I can find it. Oh, this sound deadening in installation doesn't help my cause here, but I should be able to get the guy through. There we go. Felt it. And success. Before we move on inside, I've just gone ahead and zip tied the wiring to the brake booster tubing, and I added a bit of silicone around the wire to kind of seal the hole up that I've drilled, and that just ensures there's no exhaust smoke or anything else getting into the cabin. Since the Omori gauge is actually a pretty simple gauge, all it requires is power, ground, dimmer, which I'm just going to connect to my switched 12-volt source, which is the fourth thing we need. So those 4 items have to be hooked up, and of course I've already gone ahead and found them on one of the plugs on the back side, and the black wire is ground. The yellow wire here is a positive battery source, and the yellow and red is a switched 12 volt. So I'm gonna wire these guys up right now, test the gauge out, and hopefully we'll have this cluster in within the next 5 minutes or so. What I'm using here are these easy slide-in connectors. Some people stay away from them, don't like them, but I personally have no problems with them. You connect it onto the one side of the wire, then you slide in my wire, which is a little thin, but hopefully it takes. Then you squeeze together. Actually, you need a pair of pliers, which of course I didn't bring, so I gotta pop out of the car to get, but that's kind of the gist of it, and it holds the wire in place, and we've got ourselves a decent connection. And I'm back with the pliers, so let's squeeze this together. And then it locks in place, just like that. We've got ourselves a pretty solid connection. Now let's get the other ones done up. We'll be good to go. Take these two here. And the reason why I'm putting the illumination together with the switch 12 volt source is my cluster lighting comes on as soon as I turn the ignition on. So I figure, hey, might as well have the same thing happen with the boost gauge, so we'll be all good. That's clipped. There you go. Here's our wiring. So let's plug the cluster in here and let's see if everything works. I gotta admit, this kind of sucks trying to plug this stuff in here, because it's all really tight. There we go. We got the boost gauge plugged in here. Now let's plug the cluster in, which is kind of tough. Never easy, and I can't really see right now, which is fantastic. There we go. There's one side of the cluster. All right. There we go. Let me remove this. All right. Let's grab the keys. Where did I put the keys? Where are the keys at for the car? Oh, let's turn those wipers off. Oh yeah. Looks like we do have boost gauge action. So let's start this thing up. And it looks like it works. Yes, indeed. Success. And there you have it, folks. We've got ourselves a boost gauge installed in the Evo.
Eating my chili, oblivious to your video.
I know. And here I am trying to shoot a video.
Trying to teach people about boosts, and I'm just eating my chili.
How rude of you. There we go.